Something massive is happening inside government procurement right now, and most people have absolutely no idea it is occurring. For decades, winning a government contract meant drowning in paperwork, navigating impossibly complicated proposals, and watching large corporations dominate every single opportunity. Small innovators and independent builders were essentially locked out of the entire system. But 2026 is different. Agencies are moving faster than ever before, funding artificial intelligence pilots, launching startup innovation programs, and running rapid procurement experiments at a pace that would have seemed unimaginable just 5 years ago. This is not a minor adjustment. This is a fundamental restructuring of how governments buy and adopt technology. And here is the part that should genuinely excite you. Understanding this shift could unlock millions of dollars in contracts, grants, and partnerships for everyday innovators who are building real solutions right now. Stay with us, because what comes next could completely change how you see your opportunity. And that rethinking is creating a door that was never open before. Governments around the world are facing pressures unlike anything seen in previous decades. Artificial intelligence is advancing faster than any policy framework can keep up with. Cybersecurity threats are growing more sophisticated every single year, targeting critical systems that entire nations depend on. Infrastructure networks are becoming increasingly complex, requiring smarter and more adaptive technology solutions just to maintain basic functionality. The challenge here is enormous. Traditional defense and technology contractors, the ones who have dominated government spending for decades, simply cannot move fast enough or innovate broadly enough to meet all of these demands simultaneously. Agencies are stretched thin, budgets are under scrutiny, and the problems are only getting more urgent. This is not a temporary pressure. It is a structural crisis that is forcing governments to completely rethink how they identify, evaluate, and adopt new technology. The playing field is shifting in real time. The answer is a fundamental shift in how they procure technology. Agencies are moving away from slow, rigid contract cycles and towards something far more flexible. We are talking about pilot programs, proof-of-concept projects, startup partnerships, and rapid technology adoption frameworks. These are not experimental ideas being tested in one or two places. They are becoming standard practice across federal, state, and local agencies worldwide. The core insight you need to understand is this. Governments no longer want to sign a 10-year contract with an unproven solution. Instead, they want to test first and commit later. That single change in mindset completely transforms who gets to participate in the procurement system. For innovators, this is the most realistic and strategic entry point into government contracting available today. Agencies are no longer waiting for massive proposals before testing new technology. Instead, they are launching pilot programs, small focused projects designed to demonstrate a solution, solve one specific problem, or run a limited real-world deployment. Think of it as a trial run with serious upside. If your pilot delivers measurable results, agencies have every incentive to scale that relationship into a full contract worth millions of dollars. This pathway fundamentally changes who can compete. You do not need decades of experience or a team of hundreds to qualify. You need a working solution, and the ability to prove it delivers value in a controlled environment. A successful pilot builds credibility, creates documented results, and positions you as a trusted vendor before any large commitment is required. Now that you understand how pilots work, let's talk about where the actual money is sitting right now. These are not theoretical budgets. These are active funding pools already supporting innovators today. Defense innovation programs like the Defense Innovation Unit in the United States are specifically designed to fast-track commercial technology into military applications. Smart city initiatives are funding pilots around transportation, public safety, and energy management in cities across the country. Federal AI modernization grants are being distributed to agencies actively testing artificial intelligence solutions in real operations. Digital transformation funding is flowing into healthcare systems, education departments, and administrative agencies looking to modernize outdated infrastructure. What makes this moment so significant is that these budgets are not shrinking. They are growing year after year as governments recognize that innovation procurement is no longer optional. Dedicated innovation dollars already exist, and they are actively waiting for the right solutions to fund. This is one of the largest technology buying waves in modern history, and it is happening right now. It has become an urgent operational priority, and that shift is creating enormous demand for outside builders right now. Agencies are actively seeking AI systems across nearly every department. In data analysis, governments need tools that can process massive volumes of information faster than any human team. In cybersecurity, they need intelligent monitoring systems that can detect threats in real time. In infrastructure management, AI is being used to predict failures before they happen. In emergency response, agencies want systems that can coordinate resources instantly. In administrative automation, entire workflows are being rebuilt around intelligent software. The scale of this demand is genuinely staggering. For the right innovator with the right solution, it is wide open and actively waiting. Most people assume that government agencies build their own technology in-house, but that assumption is simply wrong. The reality is that agencies across defense, health, transportation, and public safety actively rely on outside innovators to develop the solutions they need. They do not have internal teams capable of building cutting-edge artificial intelligence systems from scratch. Instead, they go looking for builders, developers, and startups who already have working technology. This means the government is not a closed institution guarding its doors. It is functioning as one of the largest technology buyers on the planet, constantly searching for outside solutions to real operational problems. For entrepreneurs who assumed government contracting was reserved for massive corporations with decades of experience, this reframes everything. The door is not just cracked open. Agencies respond to demonstrated value, and a successful proof pilot dramatically increases your chances of receiving serious funding and long-term contract consideration. The next question becomes, how do you actually get your foot in the door? This is where the proof pilot strategy becomes one of the smartest moves an innovator can make. Instead of submitting a massive contract proposal filled with hundreds of pages of documentation, you lead with a working prototype that solves a real problem an agency already has. You demonstrate measurable results, show clear efficiency gains, and present documented cost savings that speak directly to what procurement decision-makers care about most. This approach works because it removes the guesswork for agencies. They are not being asked to imagine what your solution might do. In a space where accountability and measurable outcomes drive every decision, showing a solution in action is infinitely more persuasive than simply describing one. Every agency, at every level, is trying to minimize risk before committing public funds to any new technology. When you walk in with just a pitch deck, you are asking decision-makers to take a leap of faith with taxpayer money. That is a very difficult sell. But when you walk in with a working prototype and documented results, you are removing the uncertainty entirely. You are replacing speculation with evidence. Governments do not need to imagine whether your solution works because you have already proven it does. This shifts the entire conversation from possibility to practicality. The procurement officer is no longer evaluating your idea. Understanding which of these categories aligns with what you are already building is the first step toward positioning yourself directly inside the highest concentration of active opportunity available today. Let's break it down clearly. The biggest funding categories right now are artificial intelligence and automation, cybersecurity, defense technology, climate technology, infrastructure modernization, and digital government systems. Each of these sectors is receiving billions in dedicated budget allocations, and that number is climbing every single fiscal year. Artificial intelligence alone is seeing massive investment across nearly every federal and municipal agency. Cybersecurity funding is growing rapidly as threats become more sophisticated and costly. Defense technology is expanding beyond traditional hardware into software, data systems, and autonomous solutions. Climate technology is attracting serious government dollars tied to sustainability mandates. Infrastructure modernization is pulling in funding as aging systems desperately need upgrading. It is being widened deliberately and consistently over time, creating a growing runway of opportunity for those who are paying attention right now. They are growing every single year across every major sector we just covered. Governments are not simply testing new ideas and then returning to old habits. They are fundamentally restructuring how technology budgets are allocated at the institutional level. Agencies are building dedicated innovation offices, establishing recurring pilot funding cycles, and creating formal pathways specifically designed for newer entrants. 5 years ago, these pathways barely existed in any meaningful form. Today, they are expanding rapidly and becoming a permanent feature of how governments buy technology. For builders and entrepreneurs, this structural shift represents something genuinely new. It means the door into government markets is not just cracked open slightly. The opportunity is not coming. It is already here. Government agencies are not the slow, bureaucratic institutions many people imagine. They are among the largest technology buyers on the planet, and they are actively searching for exactly what innovators like you are already creating. Every AI tool, automation system, cybersecurity solution, or infrastructure platform you are developing has a potential government client waiting to fund it. The mistake most builders make is assuming government procurement is only for large corporations with massive legal teams. That assumption is costing them millions. Agencies across defense, health, transportation, and digital services are running innovation programs specifically designed to bring in outside builders. They want fresh solutions. They want working technology. They want results. If you are sitting on a product that solves a real problem, a government agency somewhere has a budget allocated to find exactly that solution. The good news is that this system is genuinely becoming more accessible than it has ever been before. You do not need a massive legal team or decades of government relationships to get started anymore. Pilot programs, innovation grants, and startup-friendly procurement pathways have fundamentally lowered the barrier to entry for builders who are ready to show up with real solutions. The key is not connections or capital. The key is understanding how the new procurement model actually works. Once you understand that agencies are actively seeking proof-of-concept demonstrations, that innovation budgets are already allocated, and that startup partnerships are now a preferred procurement strategy, the entire landscape looks completely different. Those who take time to learn this system now will hold a meaningful competitive advantage over everyone still waiting on the sidelines. The opportunity is not coming. It is already here, and early movers are already positioning themselves to capture it. The transformation happening inside government procurement is real, and it is accelerating. The old model of slow contracts, endless paperwork, and corporate gatekeepers is giving way to something fundamentally different. Agencies are now embracing innovation pilots, rapid partnerships, and startup-friendly funding models that simply did not exist at this scale before. This is not a distant future trend. It is happening right now across defense, infrastructure, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and climate technology sectors. The budgets are growing, the programs are expanding, and the doors are opening wider every single year. Those who take the time to understand how this new system works are positioning themselves ahead of the majority who are still waiting for permission to participate. The opportunity inside government technology investment is enormous, and the window to enter early is open right now. The only question is whether you are going to be ready when your moment arrives. If this opened your eyes to what is possible, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now. We cover government grants, procurement strategies, and innovation funding opportunities on a consistent basis so that you never miss a shift in the system. The next wave of funding is not coming, it is already beginning, and staying informed is the single most important move you can make today. Now, a quick but important note. Everything shared in this video is strictly for educational purposes only. Before making any business or financial decisions, always verify information directly with official government sources and consult qualified legal, financial, or procurement professionals who understand your specific situation. The landscape is real, the opportunities are real, but your due diligence matters just as much as your ambition. Subscribe, stay curious, and keep building, because the builders who understand this system first are the ones who will win the biggest.